So this is it's a bulb, okay, and the cows will eat that. You can see the leaf starting to go a bit yellow. It's getting end of its run of the leaf. This paddock here is all rock as well, underneath here. The closer you get to the toe of the hill, is the heavier the soil is. Well, the reason I looked at something was I had a tine drill. Where we were farming, the tine drill was fine for what we wanted. We moved to a farm that's basically like river run farm, so it has a lot of stone underneath the soil. I decided then that I wanted something that could actually handle the conditions. And not wanting to buy a new drill, I only really got used to the old drill, so I decided if there was something I could convert my old drill into a disc drill. Looking around, there was nothing in New Zealand. I couldn't find anything that was even familiar. They wanted to sell me a new drill, a new disc drill, but they were a lot of money, and I couldn't really afford it. So then I looked online, and then I actually come across Ryan Discs conversions for Duncan drills, and I clicked on that and had a look at it, and it was really what I wanted to do to my drill. And that's when I got hold of Paul, and he basically got me into it. Basically, with the tine drill on this ground, you're basically just lifting out stones out of the ground, because there's no till here. You can't turn the ground over where we are. So it was always been a no-till farm. The first season I did it with my tine drill, and it was so demoralising. A paddock full of stones appeared behind me, and it was horrible. We don't have anything to roll the stones back down. Picking the stones up was too labour intensive. So by looking around and seeing what other people were doing, everybody was running a disc drill. So that's basically how I got onto that. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, everybody's got different ideas. I had a bit of interest in my drill being converted from different people, mainly because like Duncan they're quite a good established drill over here, and mine's only a 3-metre drill, so it suits the size of the farm that we are. And the conversion was pretty easy really once we got some knowledge on it. And basically you're running the same drill. Instead of running a tine, you're basically running a disc, which was a lot easier to pull. And basically the rocks on this farm can range from cricket ball to rugby ball size, and they're pretty common. So hitting those with the discs in this season that I drilled with it had no damage whatsoever. We normally do between 8 and 10 Ks, but the discs run over the ground a lot easier, and there was less disruption to the slot compared to pulling a tine. And especially in this soil where we are, it definitely a disc setup suits it a lot better. We had no problem there whatsoever. There was the odd little mark on the disc, but nothing more than what you'd expect after the rocks has hit. We didn't at the time, because at that stage when we were planting, we were reasonably dry. So the ground was hard, but I had no trouble because it's my first season using the discs. It took me a little bit to get having the drill level, what the best way for it to run. So that took me a paddock or half a paddock to get used to that. And once I got it set up to the way where I wanted to, the discs were just cutting a slot down where seed was going in, and it went pretty well. This farm that we're on here, we're self-contained farm, which means that we're a dairy operation that runs a summer brassica for the dry period. Not that you'd notice today because we had horrible weather. But then we also we plant our winter crop, and that's kale, and we plant that just before, we try to get it in before Christmas, which we done quite easily this year. We had no problem, and our crops are well established now. And then we'll basically plant again of the crops that we want to put in the autumn. So these crops will come out and go back into pasture, or they could go into oats, winter oat, depending on what we want to do. Probably, to be fair, I think that I was probably a little bit deep with the disc to start with until I got it used to. But no, germination was fine. The plants were well established. They were like down between 15 to 20 mil. I pull a steel roller behind the drill just to keep the moisture in the ground, and that just all helps the establishment, I would think. Yeah, I think depending on what different types of country, but the big thing I noticed with the discs is that it chops everything up. So we don't use like with a tine drill, we're basically using a disc opener, which would basically try and cut. So we're running discs on our tine drill anyway, as try and cut trash or whatever, open up a bit of a slot. Well, we've taken that off our drill now, so we just run the primary rind discs, and I think it'll come into its own again in the autumn when we have a bit of trash around. The discs will fly through that. We won't have any trouble with weeds or anything. This is a paddock that's come out of what we call winter crop. It was in kale for a couple of seasons, and then we've drilled as just a permanent pasture, a rye and clover mix. Going by like this is what our paddocks you have to deal with. That's just an average size rock. So this paddock here was put in October. It hasn't had a grazing yet. It's due to be grazed. Like I said, the whole paddock is full of rock. Yeah, so it's free draining, which is probably one of the benefits of the rock. But yeah, definitely the discs make it a lot easier, and we don't have as many problems. Basically, this is what we uncover with a tine drill, and they're basically just under the surface a lot of the time. And then as soon as you go through with a tine drill, you flick them out pretty much, and then they become part of the landscape. Look, we haven't got a heavy roller, which that would be one of the things that we should have, because even though you're using a disc, you do flick the odd rock out with a disc, but it's not as common as with a tine. A tine's like pulling a rate. You're pulling something through, and it's basically just going to lift things out. And a lot of the rock has been rolled before or picked up manually. So then you've got something like this that's now sitting on top of the surface with a tine drill, and it becomes a problem. Like it's always in the way. You've got to manually pick it up, or get some other mechanical device to pick it up. And normally flick out a small rock. Pretty much what it does. I just found that with the discs, there was less effort to pull through the ground. So when you got into a wetter area, or softer area, you basically didn't have to worry about blocking or anything like that. Where with the tine drill, it would just pull in, and then you'd end up having to check your spouts and This is 125 5 spacing. With the disc drill, you can't even really see where the groove is, where the discs have run. There's just a wee bit of an opening there. So like penetration to the ground, this is quite hard when we drilled it, and I'm quite happy with that. But again, we affected a lot with bugs. We had a lot of cutworm, which has nothing to do with the drill, it's just the season.